Hey everybody, Shawn Holsinger here from HolsingersFlyShop.com. Bringing another fly tying video this week. This week I'm tying a soft hackle. I haven't tied one in a while on my videos here, so I'm going to bring you one. It's a red quill, which is one of my favorite hatches to fish on Kettle Creek in the spring. Usually when we get up there, right around the last weekend of April, it's pretty much guaranteed the red quills are going to be coming off that time of year. And I've got into them really good last year on the red quills and had a lot of fun. And one of the hard things right now is finding quills in a fly shop. The strip peacock quills ready to make your nymphs out of and your wet flies and stuff. So what we're going to do is I'm going to take a peacock eye like this one, happens to be a red one, to make my red quills. I'm going to show you right now how I strip one to use on my hook. Okay, here you see my peacock eye. I'm just going to take and strip one or two of the fibers off the bottom, lay it down on my table, and I'm going to pinch the tip of it. I'm going to hold it by the tip and take my eraser and strip my eraser across it towards the butt section. I'm going to do that a couple times. Then I'm going to flip it over. Flip it over, do it a couple more times, and that gets the rest of it cleaned off there. If you have a couple stragglers holding on, just take it in your thumb, run it through your thumbnail there a couple times, and it cleans it right up. You get all that glossy stuff off the feather, and there's your strip quill ready to go. Okay, there you saw how I made the quills. Now let's get into the rest of the tying video here and show you how I tie the fly. Here you're going to see a picture of the fly, then the material list to tie it. Alright, there you go. You see the Red Quill Soft Hackle in the vise. Pretty simple fly to tie. Let's get into tying it here. For a hook, I'm using a Firehole 419. Tying this in like 14s and 16s mainly. I'm going to mainly probably tie more of them in 16s than 14s. It is a smaller fly, but it'll work also on a 14. I'm using some brown olive thread here. This is actually 70 Denier here on my vise, and so we're just going to take and wrap that back towards the back. First thing we're going to do is put on a tail. For a tail, I'm just using a Brahma Hen feather here and just making a small taking a small clump off. There you see about 6 or 8 fibers there. We're going to pull them off the feather, tie that in for the tail, and I want my tail to be about the length of the hook gap there. I don't want a real long tail. So we're just going to tie that on top and get that where I want it. I like that length. Okay, next thing we're going to do is add our peacock quill. This is one I've been using here, so we're just going to tie it on. I like to tie it on the side. And what you want to do is put just a little tiny dab of super glue on here. It'll just help protect it a lot better. There's 2 ways you can do it. You can either put a little bit of super glue on now, or you can finish it up with some Solar Res bone dry to protect it, especially from the fish's teeth. And we're just going to make nice side-by-side wraps over that super glue so it stays in place. And make a nice quill body going up through there. That looks great. We got it up there about an eye length behind the eye. We're going to tie it off. And then just trim the rest off there. Okay, next thing I'm going to do is just a small, tiny amount of Whitlock's pattern blends, the Red Squirrel Nymph Thorax, or Abdomen, I mean, the light brown color. Just make a nice tight noodle on here. I don't want to put too much on. I don't want to build it up too big here and make it non-proportionate. There we go. Just pull it a little bit tighter to get it a little bit thinner. I want just a little ball of it there to stand my hackle fibers up. For a hackle fiber, then I'm going to come in with a really tiny Brahma feather here. This is off the Brahma wings that we sell here at the shop from Whiting. And we're just going to tie that in by the tip. Just pull the tip fibers back get that wrapped down nice. And then I'm going to cut my tips off. Now if you don't wrap it back over itself, you got to be a little bit cautious when you don't want to pull too hard here or you'll pull that wrap out. So just go slow. Pull my fibers back with my fingers so they lean backwards when I wrap them around. There you go. There's what I was saying. If you don't, you got to go slow or you'll pull the tips out. But no big deal. I'm just going to come back in, pull some tips out here, tie it back down. And what I'll do this time now, I'm going to take these feathers and I'm going to fold them back over and tie them down. That'll lock it in place better. So there's a little tip for you. Don't worry whenever you're pull something out like that, just correct it and keep going. So again, stroke the fibers back so they lay on the fly the way you want them to. You're only going to get about a wrap and a half here, and then we're going to tie it off. Okay, see I got some going forward there. It looks a little sloppy. We're going to trim my butt section off. I'm going to come in, pull everything back and clean this up nice. And there you go. Make a nice little whip finish and we're done here. Try to keep your head, I got my head a little bit bigger than I like it, but it'll still fish. So there we go, the red quill. And that little guy will fish. Okay guys, hope you love that pattern as much as I do. Like I said, I've been going to Kettle Creek for decades now, and red quills are always coming off the time of year whenever I'm up there. So it's one of my favorite hatches, just for that reason. I love fishing red quills. It's just fun seeing them. It's sentimental kind of thing for me. And you know, I used to fish the gray hackle red a lot. That works great. This one works great too. It's just switch them, you know, switch them up. Maybe the trout want something different when you're there. Have a few different options in your fly box. So I love big freestone streams like Kettle, and when I'm on those kind of streams, I'm usually swinging wet flies. So that's what's productive. I can cover a lot of water. And last year I did something really weird, worked for me, and that was putting gray hackle red in the case of that day underneath a dry fly. I was suspending it with a dry fly, casting it over into a dead spot, and I was just picking one fish after another. They were eating the what was happening was my dry fly was taking and putting my wet fly in the film, and they was just sucking them wet flies in the film one after another, and wouldn't really look at the dry fly. I caught one or two on the dry fly, but they're mainly keying on getting that fly in the film. So sometimes change things around, put a dry fly on top and a wet fly underneath it to get that wet fly higher in the water column and where the fish want it, right in the film there. So have fun, experiment, try different things, and I hope you enjoyed the video, guys. If you need any materials to tie it, please reach out to us at holsingersflyshop.com. And if you have any questions and you want to get a hold of me to tie some of these for you, or just have any questions on anything fly fishing related, reach out to me at holsingersflyshop@gmail.com. Thanks for watching, everybody. I'll see you next week.